Assalamu alaikum dear students. Welcome to lecture series of New Secondary Mathematics 2 or D2 updated edition. Dear students, today we will attempt question number 3, question number 4 and question number 5 of exercise 2B. It's our chapter number 2, direct and inverse proportion. Dear students, D2 के exercises के solution के लिए आपको सेपरेट प्लेलिस्ट मेरे चैनल पर मिल जाएगी। इसके अलावा आप फेसबुक पेज विजिट कर सकते हैं टू गेट द सॉल्यूशंस ऑफ द एक्सरसाइजेस। सो सब्सक्राइब माय चैनल। So without wasting time, let's start with question number 3. Dear student, first of all, you have to read the statement carefully and you have to understand the statement. So, 35 workers are employed to complete a construction project in 16 days. We have 35 workers and they have to complete a certain task to complete a construction project in 16 days. Before the project starts, the boss of the company is told that he needs to complete the project in 14 days. Assuming that all the workers work at same rate, how many more workers does he need to employ in order to complete the project on time? Dear students, we have 35 workers and they have to complete the construction project in 16 days. But now the boss wants that this task is to be completed in 14 days. So how many more workers we need to employ? Now we have to complete the task in less number of days, so obviously we have to employ more workers. So let's check it out the relation first, that what's the relation do we have? Dear students, we have workers, two quantities we have, workers and number of days, or you can write days. You can see that we have the workers 35 and the number of days to complete a task 16 days. Now the boss of the company told that he needs to complete the project in 14 days. Now the days are 14 and we have to find the workers, more workers. Now first check it out the relation, dear students. We have 35 workers and days are 16. But now we have less number of days. Obviously, we have to employ more worker. हमने सेम टास्क को अब कम दिनों में करना है, कम डेज में कंप्लीट करना है, तो ऑब्वियसली हमें वर्कर ज़्यादा लगाने पड़ेंगे, वर्कर ज़्यादा एम्प्लॉय करने पड़ेंगे, वर्कर ज़्यादा चाहिए होंगे. It's mean the relation you are observing here is inverse proportion, because one quantity is increasing and the other quantity is decreasing. So we have the inverse relationship or the inverse proportion. Now students, what we will do is that we have x quantity and y quantities. Now this quantity is x1, this is y1, and here this is x2 and here we have y2. So worker we have find, let's I suppose it to x. Okay, so this is the inverse relationship. First you have identified that it's inverse relationship, so now you have to use this relation x1 equal to y1, x1 y1 equal to x2 y2. To beautify the question, we can write here as we know. Okay, so now you can see that we have the x1 that is 35, y1 is 16, x2 which we have to find is x, and y2 is 14. So now just we have to solve it, we have to simplify it. Now we have to find x, so 35 into 16 and 14 would be divided over here, and we will solve it. 35 into 16 divided by 14. Dear student, you will get the answer that is 40 equal to x. Now 40 workers are needed to complete the task in 14 days. Now look at your question, what they are asking for. They are asking for how many more workers. So earlier we have 35 workers and now we need like 40 workers. So how many more workers? 5 more workers are needed. So this is our solution. This is our answer. 5 more workers are needed to complete the project in 14 days. Question number 4. A consignment of fodder can feed 1260 cattle for 50 days. Dear students, we have fodder and we have cattle. Mean to say हमारे पास cattle हैं 1260 और हमारे पास चारा है उनका जो कि 50 days के लिए उन पे sufficient होता है. Given that all the cattle consume the fodder at the same rate, now they are telling us कि जितने भी cattle हैं वो same rate पे fodder जो है वो consume करती हैं, यानी कि एक जितना चारा खाती हैं, जितना first cattle चारा consume कर रही है उतना ही second and all. So dear students, we have two quantities. We have fodder and we have the days last for. Now we have to find the number of cattle an equal consignment of the fodder can feed for 75 days. You can see अब उन्होंने days कम कर दिए. 1260 cattle earlier we have और उनका जो चारा था वो 50 days में consume हो रहा था. Now they said that you have 75 days and you have to find the number of cattle. हमने kettles find करनी है और days उन्होंने बढ़ा दिए हैं कि अब आपके पास 75 days हैं. In the second part, the number of days an equal consignment of the fodder can last if it is used to feed 1575 kettles. अब उन्होंने यहाँ पे kettles हमें दे दिए हैं और days हमने find करने और first part में days जो है वो हमें दिए हुए हैं और हमने kettles find करने और यहाँ पे kettles दिए हैं और days find करने. So let's attempt the first part. Dear students, सबसे पहले तो हम इसका relation observe कर लेते हैं कि कौन सा relation है. We have number of kettles and we have days, number of days. Two quantities we have 1260 kettles and they are consuming fodder for 50 days कि वो चारा 50 days में consume कर लेती हैं. And in the first part we have 75 days. Now we have to check it out for number of kettles. Now dear students, observe the relation. जो हमारे पास fodder है, जो हमारे पास चारा है वो 75 days तक कंज्यूम करने के लिए अब हमारे पास केटल्स क्या हो जाएंगे, कम केटल्स होंगे. देन लाइक हमारे पास उनका जो चारा है वो ज़्यादा दिन चलेगा. सो यहाँ से आप देख सकते हैं कि हमारे पास जब डेज हमने बढ़ा दिए हैं, ज़्यादा दिन के लिए हमें फॉडर जो है वो चारा जो है वो कंज्यूम करना है, तो इट्स मीन कि कैटल्स जो हैं हमारे पास कम होंगे. देन द फॉडर लास्ट फॉर मोर डेज. सो यहाँ से आप ऑब्जर्व करें रिलेशन, इनवर्स रिलेशन है. ये दोनों जो क्वांटिटीज़ हैं, लेट्स सी वन क्वांटिटी इज एक्स एंड वन क्वांटिटी इज वाई. सो इनके दरमियान जो रिलेशन है वो इनवर्स रिलेशन है, बिकॉज वन क्वांटिटी इज इंक्रीजिंग एंड अदर क्वांटिटी इज डिक्रीजिंग. So for the inverse proportion, you have to remember the relation as we know x1 y1 equal to x2 y2. Now dear students, this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2. So we have 1260 and y1 हमारे पास है 50. Then x2, let's suppose it x. So x2 is x, which we have to find the kettle, and then we have 75 days. Now we will do the simplification from here. 1260 into 50 divided by 75. You can do the manual simplification from here, like you can simplify it by the table of 5, and after simplification you will get 840. You can see students, now you need 840 kettles. आपके पास 840 kettles होंगे, तब आपके पास जो उनका fodder होगा, जो चारा होगा, they can consume for 75 days, like for more days. Now in the B part, in the second part, we have number of days an equal consignment of fodder can last if it is used to feed 1575 kettles. Now they are saying कि अब हमारे पास अगर kettle 1575 हो जाते हैं, 1575 kettles हो जाते हैं, like अगर हम kettle ज़्यादा कर देते हैं, तो जो हमारा consignment of fodder है, जो चारा है, can last for how many days? So same is the case, number of kettle or the kettle we can write, and we have days. So like we have 1260 earlier and the days was 5, and now we have kettle 1575 and we have to find the days. Dear students, now we have more kettles, so obviously the fodder lasts for less number of days now, like they will consume the fodder earlier. Mean to say, when we are increasing the kettle, then the days would be less. The fodder lasts for less days. You can see here that we have the inverse relationship. Let's see why we have to find the number of days. So you have to use the relation x1 y1 x2 y2. So just students, now you will put the values here, like this is our x quantity and this is y, so we can name it x1 y1 x2 and this is our y2. So we will just use these 1260 and y1 is 50 and x2 is 1575 and y2 we have y. So we will do simplification here, 1260 into 50. So you can do the manual calculation here, you can cut it by the 5 table. So you will get here 40. So you can see that now because you have more kettle, so the consignment of the fodder, जो चारा है वो जल्दी कंज्यूम हो जाएगा, 40 days में कंज्यूम हो जाएगा. Question number 5. Dear students, what you have to do? First, you have to read the statement carefully and you have to understand the statement. At a sports camp, there is sufficient food for 72 athletes to last 6 days. First of all, students, you have to identify the quantities, that how many quantities do we have? What are those quantities? So here we have 2 quantities, athletes and days. We have 72 athletes and they have a sufficient food for 6 days. If 18 athletes are absent from the camp, now we have less athletes now. How many more days can the food last for the other athlete? State the assumption made. So, dear students, first of all, you have to identify the relation, you have to identify the proportion you have. Right now, we are doing 2B, and you know that in this exercise, all the questions are of inverse proportion. But in the exam, you have to identify first that it's a direct proportion problem or the inverse proportion problem. In the question, is it the direct relationship or the inverse relationship? Then you have to proceed for the solution. So let's find it out. Like we have athletes and we have the days food lasts for. So you can see we have 72 athletes and the food is sufficient for 6 days. Now you have 18 athletes are absent from the camp. Now what students do is that they write here 18 athletes without noticing that it's written that if 18 are absent from the camp. Students क्या करते हैं, just 18 यहाँ पे athletes को 18 ले लेते हैं. You have to understand the statement carefully. 18 athletes are absent. It's mean earlier we have 72, now 18 are absent, so we have 54 athletes. Now we have to find the number of days the food lasts for. So first check it out the relation. So dear students, 72 athletes we were having and food lasts for 6 days. Now we have less athletes, so it's mean that the food will last for more days. मीन अब हमारे पास एथलीट्स कम हो गए हैं तो ऑब्वियसली उनका फूड ज़्यादा दिन के लिए सफिशिएंट हो जाएगा. So you can observe here the inverse relationship, inverse proportion, because one quantity is increasing and one quantity is decreasing. So you have to remember the relationship. As we know, x1 y1 equal to x2 y2 in the case of inverse proportion. So we have x1, we have y1, we have x2 and we have y2, and here we have to find this, so we can assume it number of days as y. Now dear students, we will put here x1 is 72 and y1 is 6, x2 is 54 and y2 we have, which we have to find as y. So यहाँ से आप just simplification कर लेंगे. 72 multiplied by 6 divided by 4 equal to, we have y. Now student, on solving it, you will get 72 into 6 divided by 54, you will get y equal to 8. Like the food is sufficient for 8 days. So you can see here, now we have more days because we have less athletes. Now what they want how many more days. So earlier it was 6 and now we have 8. It means food lasts for 2 more days. Okay, so food is sufficient for or last for 2 more days, because earlier it's 6 and now it's 8. So you can subtract it like 2 more days the food is last for. So dear students, hopefully आपको तीनों क्वेश्चंस, क्वेश्चन नंबर 3, 4 एंड 5 अच्छे से समझ आ गए होंगे. मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में ज़रूर बताइएगा. इसके अलावा आपका कोई भी क्वेश्चन है तो आप मुझसे कमेंट सेक्शन में पूछ सकते हैं. So don't forget to share and like the video.